in lacquered armor, dark as night. Eyes glinting like dancing candles beneath a gold-rimmed visor. Dark Knights are a terrible foe to face. Capable of powerful area of effect attacks, the Dark Knight is unique in that they pay for their skills in blood. Luckily, finding ways to restore themselves is plentiful. Dark Knights offer the endgame player a way to significantly increase damage output and have a plethora of equipment options to do so. While their main skill set requires a sword of some kind to cast, this doesn't mean Dark Knights need to rely on their abilities to be an effective tank or melee fighter. There is one massive downside to the Dark Knight, however, and that's just getting them unlocked in the first place. Hi, I'm Mikey from Tactics Live Tournament, and today I have another episode in the Job Focus series. The goal of these videos is to crack open the hood on each class, present technical information in a simplified way, and help you make better choices when raising your squad. In today's Job Focus, we're going to do a deep dive into the Dark Knight class, exclusive to War of the Lions, checking out their equipment choices, learning how all their abilities work, and take a look at their class and growth stats. Maybe you've read about or heard rumors of what would be considered the ultimate class in the game and are eager to field one to decimate your storyline missions. Or you want to play around with a literal Death Star fighter capable of outputting insane damage with some fatal flaws for your multiplayer roster. If so, then chant an unholy prayer, dip your fell swords in boiling blood, polish off that black plate mail as we get into a Dark Knight Job Focus session. Dark Knights represent the pinnacle of the job tree, with abilities that define them as all-in-one units capable of absorbing large amounts of damage and outputting just as much in return to enemies in close combat and at range. They are also very reliant on equipment to achieve these goals, and thankfully, equipment choices are where a Dark Knight shines, able to wield a wide variety of weapons and armor to negate debuffs or play defensively. And if having little to no faith in your group is your thing, well, you're going to love this class, as having less faith means Dark Knights will be doing more damage with their fell swords and some abilities. And more damage is where you may want to concentrate your efforts, as aiming to be a tanky roadblock can be tricky with a lower HP class stat and abilities that need HP to cast. To unlock the Dark Knight, you will need a level 2 Squire, a Mastered Knight, a level 4 Archer, a level 5 Monk, a level 5 Thief, a level 8 Geomancer, a level 8 Dragoon, a level 8 Samurai, a level 8 Ninja, a level 2 Chemist, a Mastered Black Mage, and you must crystallize 20 enemies. Wow! Okay, are we sure we want to actually do this? The answer is yes. To really experience all that War Alliance has to offer you, I highly recommend slogging through this insane grind. The challenge is worth it, as once unlocked, the Dark Knight will exceed your expectations by bringing levels of power to your squad that only unique characters were once only able to bring. With a huge assortment of gear at their disposal, it can be easy to skip over great items. So let's look at what we need to boost our unholy strength. Dark Knights can equip a wide variety of weapons that we have covered so far in previous Job Focus episodes, which include swords, flails, axes, knight swords, and, unique to this class, fell swords. Fell swords have a unique damage formula equal to your faith as an inverse percentage multiplied by your PA, then multiplied by your weapon power. This means having lower faith outside of atheist status will make your melee attacks stronger. All fell swords must be acquired in melee or rendezvous modes. Fell swords also force your character to wield them with 2 hands, making them less ideal in defensive scenarios to knight swords. Fell swords also add dark element and have a chance to bestow a debuff on the target. I prefer knight swords for the innate buffs and ability to equip shields alongside them, and look to equip Chaos Blade for the regen. Durandal for the Protect and Shell is pretty handy here too. For shields, I like the almighty Escutcheon 2, otherwise Reverie Shield to dampen elemental attacks is excellent. Dark Knights can only equip helms, so looking for high HP is key as it will help your abilities do more damage. I prefer Grand Helm since it also provides immunity to blind and sleep. For females, definitely consider taking the hit to HP for a ribbon to protect you from debuffs completely. For armor, you have the entirety of all types at your disposal. If you're looking to get some additional speed, consider Ninja Gear or Mirage Vest. Maxing out your HP calls for Maximilian. If you need a small bump in PA, I suggest Power Garb. For quick and easy Protect and Shell buffs, I would go with Lordly Robe. And for elemental defense, I would go with a Sage's Robe. Speaking of elemental defense, female Dark Knight should consider Minerva Bustier, which luckily grants a decent bit of HP as well. And the flexible theme carries on to the accessories. Bracer is a solid choice since Dark Knight abilities rely on PA. If you want to be more aggressive in your positioning, you can increase your move by 2 with Gaius Collegae. If you still feel like you're acting too infrequently, give yourself a speed boost with Brigand's Gloves. For females, definitely consider perfumes like Chantage or Tainar Rouge for great buffs and stat boosts. Let's take a few moments to get into the nitty-gritty of the Dark Knight's skills, adequately called Darkness, so you can maximize their effectiveness in battle. Keep in mind, all Darkness skills require you to have a sword, Night Sword, or Fell Sword equipped, so to go any further, it's best to leave those axes and flails behind. Let's take a look at the formula for Sanguine Sword and Infernal Blade, which absorb HP and MP, respectively. Total damage will be 80% of your PA times your weapon power. These are both single target abilities with a range of 3 and cannot be evaded. These will most likely be your go-to skills and best to pick them up first. Next, we have Crushing Blow, with a damage output equal to your PA multiplied by your weapon power plus 2. If your weapon has an elemental property, it will transfer to the damage of this skill. Crushing Blow also has a 25% chance to inflict stop status, and like the previous two abilities, is single target effect with a range of 3. Abyssal Blade does more damage to closer targets as shown in this chart. Depending on your weapon type, you will have a different calculation for N, a sword granting a value of 1, Night Swords and Fell Swords using their Brave and Faith calculations as percentages. Abyssal Blade expands in a cone in front of the Dark Knight, hitting more enemies in the back, but doing less damage. And most importantly, sacrifices 20% of your max HP and damage. Do be careful when using in low health situations. Unholy Sacrifice does more damage with higher max HP, equal to your PA, MA, and N multiplied together, then adding a third of your max HP. Unholy Sacrifice has a 2-tile range outward from the caster with a dark element, a 25% chance to cast slow on targets, and requires a hefty 30% of your HP when used. We move straight to passive abilities, starting with HP Boost, giving you a 20% increase to your max HP. This is mildly useful and shouldn't be higher in your priority list, as high-end armor can easily boost much more. Vehemence increases your damage by 50% while increasing the damage you take by 50%. If you enjoy throwing yourself into the fray with reckless abandon, this is the passive skill for you. The Dark Knight's movement abilities differ depending on your unit's gender. Male units will have access to Jump plus 3, previously only available on Dancers, while female units get Move plus 3, which was exclusive to the Bard. We have already established the dominating nature of the Dark Knight through their excellent gear selection and abilities. So let's see how their class and growth stats reflect this promising unit. Looking purely at our 3 move, 3 jump, and lowest possible 0 to our class evasion, you can come to the conclusion that all this power must come with some sort of drawback. And surely, this is as bad as it gets. Well, that depends. Since you suffer an 80 penalty to your HP, 90 penalty to your MP, you gain a top-of-the-line 140 to your PA, suffer an 80 to your MA, and your speed remains at 100. It seems like everything about this class is out to chew up your HP pool and shifting all that to your PA instead. Definitely something to keep in mind while you're balancing your equipment options. For growth stats, we're looking at average HP growth, poor MA growth, excellent PA growth, and standard growth on MA and speed. Considering you will probably be reaching upper levels by the time this unit is unlocked, it might be best to stock up on your HP reserves and PA first, so you can harness all of that latent power when the time comes. Knowing that they can take advantage of almost anything you've got in your arsenal, while delivering hard-hitting melee attacks with amazing class stats, Dark Knights truly live up to their reputation for being battlefield behemoths that stand on their own. Dark Knights can equip a handful of weapon types, but only swords, night swords, and fell blades allow the use of their primary ability set, Darkness. Of these, night swords offer the most benefits. Fell swords are unique to the Dark Knight and can be obtained through rendezvous or melee modes. Their damage scales the lower your faith, are dark elemental, two-handed, and have a chance to inflict a debuff. HP is a very important stat for the Dark Knight, and their class stat takes a 20% chunk right out. Lean on heavy armor and helms if needed. Even better is to level up with high HP growth units before switching over, but definitely forget their passive skill HP boost. Abyssal Blade and Unholy Sacrifice will damage you based on your max HP by 20% and 30% respectively. Keep an eye on your HP reserves before casting either of these spells, and switch to Sanguine Sword if you're low. Double check the properties of your weapons versus your target's equipment, as Crushing Blow and Abyssal Blade will transfer the element of your weapon. Unholy Sacrifice comes with a dark element by default. Sanguine Sword and Infernal Blade are neutral. This concludes this episode of the Job Focus series with the Dark Knight. I get the feeling this is a video a lot of folks have been waiting for once the series began. And I get it. For a lot of players, the Dark Knight was the reason to pick up War of the Lions on the PSP. It's a challenge to unlock with a great reward, plain and simple, and gives you an admittedly overpowered avenue to endgame domination. Then again, maybe having a one-unit killing machine isn't your cup of tea, and you prefer creating interesting synergies with combinations only achievable with a team of varied specialists. Dark Knights don't really give you that kind of experience. They're not subtle nor cunning, they just barge in and destroy stuff. For me, I enjoy the grind to unlock and having at least 2 generic Dark Knights in my roster. Ramza almost always becomes one as he is responsible for a lot of storyline KOs, and I enjoy getting him to be a mastered Onion Knight as an achievement. But more on that next episode, the final in the series. If you enjoyed today's presentation on this Warlord of the Abyss, the Dark Knight, it would be amazing if you threw it a like as a way to say thanks. If you haven't yet, why not subscribe to the channel to help it grow and reach more people? Speaking of which, feel free to share this or a playlist with a friend who might also be interested in tactics multiplayer. Lastly, if you're ready to meet with other passionate War of the Lions fans, head over to Tactics League Discord and request a game of Melee or Rendezvous. If you need assistance getting set up, drop a line in the help channel and we'll try our best to get you up and running. We are looking for more active members, as it's our goal to one day host a live tournament, hopefully soon. And to do it, we need you. And bring your friends too, as War of the Lions is an experience that's best when shared. This is Mikey from Tactics Live Tournament signing off. I will see you in the next episode. And until then, be well everyone.